I'm on Patreon, and Patreon is a platform where I will upload interesting videos where you can learn astrology. And this is an exclusive Patreon only membership videos where you will get some interesting takes on Vedic astrology, some interesting learning on Vedic astrology. Connect with me on Patreon and we will grow, and a lot more secrets will be shared there. From 8th of June till 1st of July, your ascendant lord will be in Ashlesha Nakshatra. Now, Ashlesha is a clinging star. It has the energy of both Moon and Mercury. And you see how Mars can really become frustrated with both the energies of Moon and Mercury, because for Mars, Mercury can be more compatible because Mars is about war, fighting spirit, competition, something creation, engineering, and Mercury is about data, information, intellect, transaction, finance, money. That can be compatible, but not the energies of the Moon. Bring in Moon's energy in front of Mars, and that is emotional energy, and Mars will fail. That means there will be something in your heart that will create that emotional turmoil, that emotional vibrations, where you will be slightly restless. And then from 17th, Venus will join. I will make a separate video about Venus in Ashlesha, so watch that video. But focusing only on Mars, Mars in the 4th house can create tensions in home, in real estate, in your manufacturing business. It can create tensions in your marriage through the career of your spouse. You also have to be very careful about your health, especially the health of your heart, health of your lungs. Do a lot of breathing exercises, and try not to stay in one claustrophobic space. Try to venture out and see the sky, breathe within among the trees, and try to be as close to nature as possible. Now, when Mars goes in Ashlesha, it might introduce jealousy. It might introduce unnecessary fights, especially in your career. And you also have to focus on your investments, because investments done during this time might result into lack of any productivity. The return of investment, the ROI will not be that great, because Mars reaches its deep debilitation in the 4th pada of Ashlesha Nakshatra. Also, if you see the Navamsha of Mars in Ashlesha, it will be from Sagittarius to Pisces. The thing here is that Jupiter is with Rahu. So Mars is not getting any support, which means you might feel helpless in your own home. And in such case, you will just have to continue doing your duty and focus on the positive and bright side of everything instead of being negative and pessimistic. If your moon is afflicted, then this will impact you more. But if your moon is positive, this will be more or less an average transit. But still, because Mars is your ascendant lord, if you focus more on resolving issues and taking matters in your own hand, and if you know your limits and perform within your functional limit of your body and mind, you should be good to go. Taurus. Now, when Mars will be in Ashlesha for the 3 weeks in the month of June, you have to understand that for Taurus, Mars will be in the 3rd house, and 3rd house Mars is Mars capable of doing many things. But in Ashlesha, this can make you win competition. This can make you fight wars. This can make you win over your enemies. But then the intent should be very optimistic, very positive, because if your intent is to take revenge, because usually Mars can increase the rage when it is in Ashlesha, because you might feel that somebody has been playing with your emotion, or somebody has been testing your patience, your ego, or you have been into an unfair practice, unfair play, or something is unfair with you. You might end up taking a revenge or doing something about it, and absolutely not the right time for that. When Mars is in Ashlesha, this is the time to build a better future for you. It is a time to focus more on competition. Healthy competition will give you more success. Mars in Ashlesha can actually make you take you certain foreign travel. And especially in the matters related to business and marriage, you will have to be extra careful. The initiatives that you will take during this time should be very cautious, knowing all the things. Otherwise, you will end up being you will end up projecting your image as a greedy person, as a person who will do anything to win a certain position, especially if it is a power struggle, because Mars in Ashlesha can create a lot of power struggle. It can put you in a situation where the reputation can be at stake. There can be fight between brothers due to misunderstandings. A good relationship, a good friendship can just convert into a battlefield because of a sudden outburst of emotion. So be watchful of these things, as well as you have to be loyal to your partner, and you take care of your health, especially the pitta in your body can get aggravated during this time. And if you're traveling, especially to a foreign country, if you have a business related to export and import, you should be very watchful of any loopholes in your business or any mess that you may have, which will result into some penalty or fines. Mars being in Ashlesha Nakshatra will also create dependency on other factors which might irritate you, and in spite of your own efforts, things are not moving in the right direction, or things are not moving at all. In all such cases, pray to Bhagwan Hanuman, chanting Hanuman Chalisa every day. And if you can also chant Sundarkand Path on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and if you can do some fasting if health permits on Tuesday, it will be great. Also, feeding someone who is hungry will be great. So doing some act of charity will actually channelize this Martian energy. Also, lethargy and procrastination will be at its all-time high, especially for students. So spend less time in gaming, do more active sport, and focus on the highest priority of the day. Prioritization will be a problem, so you may have to work a bit on that when Mars is in Ashlesha. Gemini zodiac sign. If you are a Gemini ascendant, Mars in Ashlesha will be in your second house, along with Venus, which is your 12th lord. Now, if you see for Gemini, Mars is a planet that rules your 6th house and 6th from 6th, which is 11th house. And when that planet goes in the second house and in Ashlesha Nakshatra, this can create fight or dispute between the family members on the basis of territory, on the basis of your house, or simple fights basis on the rooms or the kind of property that you hold, assets that you have. This has the potential to actually create issues where somebody is trying to use their politics or negative energy to spoil the financial balance of life or emotional balance in the family. So in your case, it is best that you apply all your intellect and knowledge to diffuse the situation if there is any, and focus more on the family's unity. And from the financial perspective, you should not do any kind of ego spending. Ashlesha can go for a lot of comparison. It would want to cling on something. So there can be some desperateness also. Like you desperately want something, or you want to push an agenda, or you want to explain your point of view, or you want to portray yourself in a certain way. So that desperation might kick in because of insecurities that might rise. This is also a right time to focus on the childhood traumas. So talk to a psychologist, to a healer about your childhood traumas, and push out the negative energy from within yourself. Be very careful of your words, because sometimes what happens, a sweet talk can be too sweet sometimes. Also, be very careful if you have diabetes during this time, or if you are low on iron, low on any there's any blood disorder. Mars in Ashlesha in second house can also make you feel or sound desperate or emotionally vulnerable, so be very careful. Silence is going to be the key here. Doing a bit of introspection and focusing on the competitive energies, but on a, you can say, healthy competition side, is going to be great, especially for students. For businessmen, this is definitely going to be a very a transit which will involve a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs, and will also involve extra expenses. So be mindful of all those things. But overall, I will not say that this is a very great transit because of a debilitated planet in the second house, that too aspecting your 5th and 8th house. So risky investments or investment in speculative market should be done without any kind of intention of doubling the money or going for a very rapid growth. Rather, if you focus on a very humble way of doing things, having a long term approach, and using the power of Ashlesha, like cling on to the knowledge, the positive knowledge. Be desperate to take the name of God. Be desperate to learn something good. Then you are going to use the energies in the right manner. From the perspective of relationship, jealousy and lies can create a lot of difficulties, especially in marriage. Also, the career of your spouse can take some twists and turns. You need to stand for each other. Cancer ascendant. For you, Mars will be in Ashlesha in your first house. That means either it is on your lagna or it is on your moon sign if you are a Cancer moon sign. And on top of that, if your lagna or your moon is in Ashlesha, or if any planet is in Ashlesha, that means it is on your ascendant, it will impact your life heavily. See how it reacts to your own thoughts. Because see, this Ashlesha Mars have the ability to make you believe in certain kind of ideas or thoughts that initially you might find it fascinating or something that helps you get revenge. It's like handshaking with the devil. Because if you're a Cancer ascendant, then Mars becomes a Yoga Karaka planet for you, like 10th Lord and 5th Lord. When that planet comes on ascendant, it starts creating a feminine energy, a masculine feminine imbalance in your chart. And then it might make you feel that you want to take a side here, but while taking the side, you can also stray to the path of injustice, finding shortcuts, because desperation might come in, jealousy might come in. This feeling to win at any cost, that might haunt your mind, and so stay away from all such negative emotions. Mars in Cancer is more a softer Mars, a Mars who should not be desperate, a Mars who should just wait and let it flow like a river. Vipassana Dhyan will be an excellent remedy for people with Mars in the first house, if you have Cancer ascendant, or for this transit also. Keep yourself busy in some positive energy, positive tasks. Do something creative, but it should be some like creative art, like you can cook, you can paint, you can write. Doesn't matter whether you are a male or female. Doesn't matter how strong your Mars is in your birth chart. Just do it. What will happen is that when Mars will be in this particular nakshatra, this is the nakshatra of Mercury, mind will run into multiple ways. Will try to figure out the shortcuts and solutions and what is right and what is wrong. But because Mars zodiac strength is weak, better to allow all the thoughts to come, pen it down, but don't take action on that. Wait for Mars to go in Leo. Then you will see that this Mars will give you a lot of strength, courage to work, to act on something that is solid, that can give you some positive return. From the perspective of education and from the perspective of your children's life, you might be more worried, and don't impose your thought on your children. Just let it be. Enjoy more, and do some sort of serving. If you can chant Mahamrityunjay mantra, serve the poor, feed them wherever it is possible. Focus on creating some educational awareness among the children. That will be great during this time. Just that anger, frustrated emotions out of frustration, anger out of frustration, irritation. If you have any such feelings in your mind, share it with someone. Don't keep it in your heart. Don't create imaginary situations in the mind. And there is a word called dharana. So don't have a dharana or perspective about someone that particular entity or that particular thing will be of this kind only. There's some fixation in the mind. Don't fix your mind at some point. Otherwise, it will create a lot of negative emotions. Better to fix your mind on a mantra. Chant Hanuman Chalisa 7 times, 11 times, 21 times every day, and you will feel much better, much stronger. And because your mind is fixed to Bhagwan Hanuman, he will take care of all the problems. Leo. In case of Leo, Mars will be in Ashlesha Nakshatra in your 12th house. Now, Mars is debilitated in the 12th, and you will also experience Venus approaching this Mars. Venus has in fact moved into the sign of Cancer. Now, Mars is a very important planet, 4th and ninth lord in the 12th. Good for people who want to do export and import, but bad for your career. Career, as in if you're employed somewhere and if you are employed in an MNC, you have to be more careful. And if you are traveling somewhere, you will have to be more careful about the expenses. See, 12th house Mars, when it is debilitated, it doesn't have a power to hold the fort, doesn't have a power to defend. So this Mars needs to be given a lot of courage, because in your subconscious brain there may be fear or phobias that will affect your mind a lot, and you would want a solution desperately. Especially in case of marriage, there may be fear of separation, or there may be some anxiety because of a certain disturbance or certain fight that happens between the couples. Overall, you will have to control your subconscious brain, think more positive, and wait until Mars reaches your ascendant. Because when Mars comes on your ascendant, it creates a Rajyog. Fourth lord will be on the first house, ninth lord will be on the first house. It's a beautiful Rajyog. But until then, try to hold yourself and try to push back any major decisions that can be pushed back. And if you have to take a certain decision, then you must have that scope of some degree of freedom to manipulate things, to change things, and make it your way. But applying force, brute force, will not work when Mars will be in the 12th house. So you also have to understand that Mars will be with Venus, and Venus is again a very important planet for Leo, because Venus rules your 3rd and 10th house. So your initiative, your expression, your career, all that depends upon this combination. If something wrong happens in your career, give it some time, wait for like couple of weeks, let the time pass, and take necessary action in the month of July. In case of Virgo, Mars will move in Ashlesha Nakshatra in your 11th house. Now, when you talk about 11th house, you're talking about gains, you're talking about power, you're talking about network circle. And see, Mars is your 3rd lord. And being the 3rd lord, it moves to the 11th house is actually good. It is like your efforts, the initiatives that you will take, your own courage, your decisions is more towards fulfilling the great desire, is more towards gain, profits. But because Mars is debilitated, it is in Ashlesha. While you are competing with someone, this Mars can push you to take unhealthy measures, unhealthy steps out of greed, comparison, vengeance, lust. Basically, this will try to, this won't give you that control on the self, and you might commit a sin. And because it is 11th house, it's a house of karma phal, immediately there will be a response from the universe. So it is better to know what you're doing. Even when you are speaking something, you should know what you're speaking and the consequence of that. And for Virgo, this can be a bit financially distressing time, because Mars also aspects your 2nd house while it is in Ashlesha. And why it is slightly disturbing, because Ashlesha is the nakshatra of Mercury, and your ascendant is ruled by Mercury. And if Mercury in your horoscope is negative, then this time can be slightly negative, and you should be very careful. And if the Mercury is positive, then Mars and Venus in Ashlesha can create shortcuts to success. But it's not that you will have to find it will just happen. So it will be great that if you are on a boat and let the boat swim in the waters of life, and you are not creating ripples, because when you create ripples, it might create a reaction that you didn't expect. There can be loss of friends, and there can be fight between friends, especially in the parties or when you try to enjoy and when there is luxury. So be careful how you behave and how you are putting your point in front of others. And because Venus is also with this Mars, relationship issues can come up. You have to be very honest, truthful, and towards your partner, and also be mindful of the fact that you have to, respect comes before love. So always show respect to every individual whom you think is your own, as your loved ones. Libra. In case of Libra, Mars rules your second house, Mars rules your seventh house, and this Mars goes in the 10th house. What happens here is there will be a clash between marriage, family, and career. Your career aspiration might interfere in your family vacation time, or family's aspirations, or when you are bonding with your family. Or sometimes your family matters or disturbance in the marriage or family can carry forward in your workplace, where you are unable to find the right balance between both your career and your marriage and your family life, your personal life basically. So be mindful of that. For Libra, your ascendant is ruled by Venus, and Venus will be with this Mars, so you will be heavily affected by criticism, heavily affected by the influence that you get from social media, from people around you, and you might choose not to act when you are supposed to act, and you might act when you're not supposed to act, just because you are under certain influence. So here the best way is to go pretty much logical, have a logical approach, and it is okay to take suggestions, it is okay to take references from outside world, but then you will also have to apply all your knowledge, all your experience into deciding whether you should go for a certain decision or not, whether personal or professional. Because Mars will be in the 10th house, it will affect more on the professional side, more on the side where you will have to, your image is questioned. If you are a celebrity, if you are into social media, if you are into filmmaking, or anything where your power, your personality is going to bring in the business, bring in the career, then Mars and Venus can create controversies there. Competition can trouble you a lot. There can be an unexpected competitor coming your way, which will push you to rethink on your strategy, on your working principle. But sometimes changing that approach is better for you, especially when there is a Rahu Jupiter conjunction in the 7th house. So stay alert. Don't do anything that can tarnish your reputation, at least consciously. And this is a time when frustration might creep in your career. There may be frustration because of the role that you are in. There may be frustration because of you're not getting any promotion. Anywhere the expectation is not meeting, it will create an uncomfortable situation, and you would want to do something about it. The fact is that let Mars move into Leo before you actually do anything about it. Scorpio. In case of Scorpio, your ascendant and your 7th house lord is Mars and Venus. Your ascendant lord goes into the 9th house. Now, when your ascendant lord is in the 9th house, it is actually a good transit, right? But Mars is debilitated, and this Mars is with your 7th lord. That means you and your spouse must be following a kind of a lifestyle where you both complete each other if you are married. And people who are in difficult marriage, who are in toxic relationship, who are facing problems in the marriage should be extremely careful, because this Mars and Venus in the 9th house in Ashlesha can make you desperately take a step, or you can decide on something which is adharma. That means not as per the righteousness. And when that happens, nobody can stop the consequence from happening. You have to remember that for Taurus being the 7th house and Scorpio being the first, Venus rules 7th and 12th, Mars rules 1st and 6th. So in spite of being the lord of 1st and the 7th house, Mars and Venus also rules the 6-12 axis. Therefore, it has the potential to clear off the prarabdha by bringing in problems, by bringing in obstacles, by making you feel jealous about your partner, and the thought process will be quite messed up during this time, especially from the perspective of relationship. This might also be the time when you reject any positive guidance because your thought process is fixated upon something. If you are feeling that way, that you are unable to, free up your thought, and one particular decision, one particular karma, one particular mindset has taken over, this is the time to pray to Bhagavan Krishna. Reading Bhagavad Gita every day. Like if you have 1 hour of time, read Bhagavad Gita every day. Find out the meaning of life from that. That will be great, because it will stop you from doing the adharma. Also, Weighing your actions will be extremely important during this time. But on the other hand, it is a very good time for students. It's a good time for students who want to, you know, learn advanced technology, who wants to grow into the pharmaceutical industry, who wants to grow into medical sciences, good for research work. So if you are into that kind of field, Mars transit in Ashlesha will be good for you. But on general, it is going to affect your very sense of understanding what is right and wrong. So be very slow in your actions. Sagittarius. In case of Sagittarius, Mars rules your 5th house, 12th house, and Mars is in Ashlesha Nakshatra in your 8th house. This actually increases the power of occult energy. If you are practicing Kriya Yoga, Kundalini Dhyan, if you are into some sort of sadhana, mantra, diksha, if you are doing yoga, holistic wellness, Mars in Ashlesha will help you a lot in curing your body, curing your health, and focusing more on the positive energies by bringing out the core essence of your body. Now, this is when I'm talking that you are trying to do so. But if you're not trying to do anything about it, if you're not living a holistic life, say you're a strong meat eater and you are into alcohol and smoking, Mars in Ashlesha will create distractions, energy disturbances in the body, which will make you react to situations that happens around you in a different manner. Sometimes it can create violence, it can create a lot of rage and argument because of comparison, and it's not just you, somebody else might show their reaction against you. They may speak against you some nonsense. And what might happen with this Mars being in Ashlesha in 8th house? Secret enemies, unexpected problems will come up in your life. Don't forget that Venus is also with Mars throughout this journey, and Venus is your 11th lord. So your 5th and 11th axis completely goes into the 8th house, Ashtama Bhava. So in matters related to children, education, in matters related to friend circle, network circle, there will be contrasting changes. There will be a little bit of ups and downs that you will experience. It is better that if you go in a very positive manner, and if you're not reacting to situations in a negative way, you have to check on how is your behavior, how are you speaking. And matters related to in-laws can create disturbance in the family, so you have to be very polite and kind. And in matters related to inheritance and and investment related matters will be taking a hit during this time. So think carefully before making any steps towards that direction. Also, anybody who is involved into deep research will see good growth, and Mars being in the zodiac sign of Cancer will reach the point of deep debilitation in Ashlesha, and then will cross the Ashlesha Magha, reach your 9th house. So it is better to take majority of your primary actions when Mars actually reaches the 9th house. Capricorn ascendant. For Capricorn, Mars will directly impact marriage, because this Mars in Ashlesha will be in the 7th house, that too along with Venus. That means this masculine and feminine energy collision happening in this serpentine nakshatra can make you more possessive towards your partner, can make you drive to absorb more and more power, especially in business partnerships. It can create situation where you are unable to deal with the other people, maybe your spouse or maybe the business partners, leaders, executives, and this can create a change of image for you. So be mindful of that, because this Mars will aspect your 10th and 2nd house. So it is going to impact your career big time. But in a world of competition, if you're following the path of healthy competition, this can be a blessing for you. Mars in Ashlesha can really make you more and more competitive and can give you victory, provided you are following the path of healthy competition. Take care of your health, especially the health of your lower abdomen. Do regular exercise and follow the path of Ayurveda. That will be extremely helpful in tackling any disease or any negative energy that may come your way. Jealousy, comparison should be avoided, and because Mars will be right in front of you, you will see that your energies are. Uh, so, for example, you are trying to put forward a certain kind of action, and you're getting a different kind of reaction, and that you have not expected. Be ready for such reverse events happening your way, and when you see that the reaction is disproportionate or this is not what you expected, then you try to wait until Mars crosses the Gandanta of Cancer and Leo zodiac sign, because seventh house Mars going into the eighth house generally in a kundli is called Mangal dosha, and it heavily affects the married life or relationships. And in that case, when Venus is also following the Mars, it is better to try not to engage into any fight, into any verbal battle, and rather remain calm. Now, will this happen to every Capricorn? No, but mostly Capricornians who have a negative Mars in their horoscope, who have a negative or afflicted moon in their horoscope, should be more concerned and more watchful, and try to chant Hanuman Chalisa, remain humble, and do a lot of grounding meditation. Aquarius. Now, in case of Aquarius, there is a Saturn placement in your first house. On 17th June, Saturn will become retrograde on your ascendant, and Mars is actually aspecting Aquarius zodiac sign from your sixth house. This means that you will have to take great care of your health. Some reaction, allergic reaction is possible, so be very watchful of what you eat, what you drink, and try not to engage into any fight, because your enemies, the negative energies, will draw you into a fight, will try to pull you down to their level. But you have to ensure that you are maintaining your stand firmly, and you have to fight with principles. Following the path of adharma will not be the right way here. Mars will challenge you with minor hurdles, luck not favoring you, making you unprepared towards life. But you have to give a counter where you are more practical, you are planning everything, and you are slowing things down. From the perspective of relationship also, and matters related to home, assets, you will have to be very, very careful. Do not spend money just to show someone. Do not spend money because you have to prove yourself or to someone a point, because that can, boost your ego temporarily. But it's like a negative thrust. It will boost your ego, but then will have its own consequences. Take care of the health, like if you have a blood related problem, if you have problems related to anemia or blood pressure or diabetes, thyroid, you will have to be very watchful, especially if you have diabetes. Sixth house usually causes loans, karmic or financial. When Mars and Venus goes there, try to understand that for you, Aquarius natives, Mars rules your third house and Mars rules your 10th house. So it's very, very important. It's like it's the heart of your career. And when that goes into the sixth, you won't be happy with the role that you are given. A lot of people will see job change during this time, new opportunities coming. All that is fine. But then you have to understand that if you are getting a new opportunity now, it will be a very challenging opportunity, and you should understand that. So if you are trying to bring any career change here, if you are trying to take initiatives that will bring changes in your life, like putting yourself into competitive environment, fighting a court case or something, if you are seeking a win, the win will not be easy, and the path ahead is challenging. And if you are ready to accept that challenge, then go ahead, because Ashlesha Mars on the flip side can give you a great victory. Pisces. In case of Pisces, Mars will be in your fifth house. Fifth house Mars and Venus can alter the way you express yourself. Your ascendant lord is with Rahu. Although they are separating, but still the separation is not quite huge. The Jupiter will be in the second house, and Jupiter will be aspecting the sixth house and the 10th house. Whereas Mars is in the fifth house, square from this Jupiter, in the zodiac sign of exaltation of Jupiter, which is Cancer zodiac sign. So anyone who has a weak Jupiter or moon in their birth chart will experience a negative output, not very negative, but slightly negative output of this Mars, where jealousy, you will see that in relationship there will be a lot of jealousy. Either it will develop within you, or somebody will be jealous because of your growth, and therefore there will be politics, office politics, and this can create more and more trouble in your career. Now if you see, because Mars rules your second house and Mars rules your ninth house, this Mars will push you to the path of adharma by making you believe that following the dharmic path, following the path of righteousness is actually wrong. When you follow the path of naitikta, the right guidelines, which produces good, if not immediate, in the long run, somebody will try to make you believe that that's the wrong path. So you will have to push yourself in a way that you're not straying away from the straying away into the tamasic energy, tamasic path. Food is going to play a vital role. Remember, second house Rahu, fifth house Ashlesha Mars. Be very watchful of the food that you eat. Sattvic food will create sattvic thoughts. Tamasic food will create tamasic thoughts. Fifth house is also the expression of life, and Mars is Bhavad Bhavam here. Ninth Lord, 9 places away. So don't take it lightly. Mars in Ashlesha is a strong Mars. It can give you that hunger to win. It can be very much helpful to pull you out from lethargy and make you feel frustrated about your own situation, but you will have to act on that in a constructive manner, because if you keep on showing the grudge and if you are just having all these feelings but you're not channelizing that energy into the right direction, then it will start consuming you, and it will create problems in your relations, especially in the romantic affairs of the life. People involved in stock market, speculative business should be watchful during this time.